The 2020 NBA draft has just concluded and it went pretty surprising. We saw picks like Patrick Williams go to the Bulls at 4, which we were very surprised on. We saw people like Denny Avdija and Obi Toppin fall to 8 and 9, further respectfully. And you got people like Tyrese Halliburton falling all the way to 12. And today, we're going to be looking at some winners and losers of the 2020 NBA draft. But before we get started, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel and like the video. They only take 1 second and they make a big difference in this small channel. Only like 60% of you that are watching these videos aren't even subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button. I would happy for you to join the squad. Now let's begin. So for our first winner, we have the Detroit Pistons, and there they selected Killian Hayes at 7, Isaiah Stewart at 16, and Saddiq Bey at 19. They traded fan favorite Luke Kennard for the 19th pick, and I think that's actually a pretty good deal because I think that Saddiq Bey can be a very good player. He's a versatile scorer and can guard all 5 positions. I think he's going to be a pretty good player. I'm not the highest on Isaiah Stewart, but they only gave up a heavily protected first-round pick for him. So I guess because he's a bit young and he is a traditional center, I don't think he's going to be the best, but I guess that pick might convey into 2 seconds, so I guess that's not a bad deal. And I think Killian Hayes has a lot of potential. Learning from D Rose may be beneficial. He's a 6'5" point guard with defensive potential, has good shooting, he is a good playmaker, and I think he can be a really good player. He has James Harden-esque, but he does convert a lot of turnovers, and I think with the new management of the Pistons of Troy Weaver, I think that the Pistons are in a very good situation, and I think that next year's draft they're going to do very similar. They're going to trade a lot of their players for draft picks, and with next year's draft being very good with people like Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Jalen Green, Jalen Johnson, Greg Brown, I think that they can find their star here, and I think Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, and Saddiq Bey can still be really good players, all-stars or role players. Now for our second team, we have the Chicago Bulls, and I have them as a loser. They drafted Patrick Williams, which was very surprising. I'm pretty sure when everyone heard Patrick Williams get drafted, people were saying, "What?" or "Who?" And even I did that. I think Williams is a reach, and I think he might be a good player, but he could have been drafted later in the draft, like at 7 or 8. I know that the Bulls are trying to trade this pick, but it seems like no one was very interesting because of the outside of Wiseman, LaMelo, and Edwards, the 4th through 7th picks were very uncertain. Patrick Williams is a good defender and can also hit the 3-ball. He shows potential, but he's still a reach. He averaged about 12 points a game in college and wasn't off the bench, but he still shows a lot of potential. But I think if they could have traded down, picked up some more assets, that would have been much better, and then they would have been a winner. Because if you can pick up like just like another asset, potentially even some more picks, then the Bulls would have been in a good place. Now, the problem with Patrick Williams is that he is, I think, a 4, and I don't think he can play the 3 much, so with already Lowry Markkanen, who can only play the 4 too, and they aren't the most versatile, I think that might be a problem. I think Patrick Williams might be able to play the 3 with his defense, but that still might be a problem. Now for a third team, we have the Washington Wizards, and I have them as a winner. They selected Denny Avdija, and I'm surprised that Denny fell. I had him mocked to the Cavs at 4, and even the Cavs at 5 and the Bulls at 4, and if he pans out, that would be so good. Unfortunately, the Wizards' defense is going to be atrocious, but with Denny's playmaking, finishing in IQ, I think that the Wizards might be able to go back to the playoffs in 3 years since John Wall's injury. Now, Denny, alongside Bradley Beal, can be pretty good, and John Wall, and alongside Rui Hachimura, Mo Wagner, Thomas Bryant, like I said, that actually might make the playoffs if Denny pans out and hopefully isn't a bust. Now with our fourth team, we have the Boston Celtics, and there I have the Celtics as a loser. They selected Aaron Nesmith, Peyton Richardson, and traded Desmond Bane to the Grizzlies. They couldn't have traded up, and apparently they wanted a Kungu a lot, but they couldn't finalize a deal. it seems like they always have first round picks every year, and they're always rumored to trade up, but they actually never do. Like last year they had like the 14th pick and some other picks, but they still drafted 2 people. Now I do like the Nesmith pick with his shooting, but I think that trading Bane, who I think will be a big mistake because he is NBA ready, one of the best shooters in the whole entire draft, and I think that the Grizzlies got a steal at pick 30, but I think the Celtics are a loser for not trading up again. I don't know much about Patron Richardson, and I think they could have selected like a Theo Maledon, who is still a young player, and they might be able to develop. And since they couldn't trade up, couldn't get a Kongru, I think that they are a loser in this draft. Now for our 15, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, and there I have the Sixers as a winner. They selected Tyrese Maxey, Isaiah Joe, and Paul Reed. The Sixers new front office, and Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers have done very well adding shooters alongside Embiid and Simmons. They first shipped Horford to OKC, getting back Danny Green and a 3-and-D player on an expiring deal and a young player in Ferguson, while only giving up a first and second round pick. I think this is I think this is going to be a win-win deal because the Thunder are willing to take Horford's deal because they might be able to do what they did to Chris Paul, who has a big contract, but since they're probably not going to win much, they can increase his trade value, and the Sixers get free of Horford's contract, pick up a 3-and-D player in Green, who's an expiring, like I said, and Ferguson, who still has some potential. They drafted Maxey, who is a good defender, and if he develops a jumper, he can be an absolute steal. Isaiah Joe was actually promised to go to the Sixers, so that makes sense why they drafted him, and he is a good shooter, and Reed has upside, even mocked in the first round in some mock drafts. In the middle of the second round, they traded Josh Richardson and the 36th pick for Seth Curry. And I think this is a pretty good swap. The Sixers received Seth Curry, a good shooter, which they desperately need, and the Mavericks receive a good defender who can also hit the 3-ball. Richardson is on an expiring deal, but the Mavericks are going for Giannis, so that won't impact their deal, and they can probably re-sign him. Curry has the second best 3-point percentage of all time behind Steve Kerr. That's insane. Now the spacing in Philadelphia would be so much better running Simmons, Curry, Danny Green, Harris, and Embiid, and that can be so much better for Embiid to work on the paint and having shooters for Ben Simmons to kick out on. And I think, although this looks pretty good now, I think the Sixers are going to make more moves. Now, at number 6, we have 2 teams, and we have the Milwaukee Bucks and the Golden State Warriors, and they are both losers. First, starting off with the Bucks, they both had nothing to do with the draft, but it still happened on draft day. The Hawks dealt to get Bogdanovich, but it's actually been no longer happening because he doesn't have a contract. He will enter restricted free agency on Friday. Now, I think that's a big L, as the Bucks no longer get Bogdanovich, a versatile scorer, and providing shooting, shot making can help the Bucks and Giannis in the playoffs, and I think that could have been so essential, but now it's not a guarantee that they'll get it. And now for the Warriors, I like picking up Wiseman with his fit, but Clay got injured in practice, fearing it actually might be an Achilles tear. Oh shoot, oh wait. Woj just tweeted out it was an Achilles tear, a season-ending injury. Oh my goodness. I'm in shock. Oh, I feel so bad for Warriors fans. I feel so bad for Clay after missing an entire year and missing another year. Okay, let's give a moment of silence for Klay Thompson. Thank you. Yeah, let's just move on. Now with our 7th team and our final team, we have Tyrese Halliburton, or for the Kings, where they selected Tyrese Halliburton. I think Tyrese Halliburton is going to be a really good player and was very underrated in the draft. So I think that he could have been drafted higher at even the Bulls at 4 or the Hawks at 6, but they definitely should have done over Okongwu because they still have Clint Capella, and Okongwu is going to have to fight really hard to get minutes. I think the Kings get Tyrese Halliburton can be so good with Bogdanovich potentially out of the way and Buddy. That can be really good. I'm very surprised that the Knicks didn't draft Tyrese Halliburton, but I guess that they wanted Obi Toppin. And so I think Tyrese Halliburton can be compared to a Malcolm Brogdon, a consistent player who is a good ball handler. He's a good shooter, defender, and controls the whole game. And I'm so high on him that if he develops his whole potential, I think he can be a Chris Paul. That's so high on him, and I think that this is gonna be a steal. So yeah, that's gonna be that, and I have some honorable mentions. That being the New York Knicks, and I'm very torn if the Knicks are a loser or a winner. I like Obi Toppin's game, but he's 22 for a rebuilding team. But I think that actually might be a good fit. But I don't like their 23rd pick where they took Leo Angelo Barbosa over people like Tyrell Terry and RJ Hampton where they desperately needed a point guard. I did not like that at all, and I think that's what kind of makes them off. And then we have other players like the Nuggets who are also a winner, but they're not big enough because they got RJ Hampton, a good prospect. And then you got people like the Thunder. Oh, I probably should have included the Thunder, but they got Pukazeski trading up with Ricky Rubio, the 25th pick and the 29th pick. I also didn't include obvious teams like the Hornets and the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are an obvious winner, selecting Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, and another player. And I think that's a really good draft for them. And then for the Hornets, they got their hands on LaMelo. And I think that LaMelo is going to be a pretty good player alongside the Hornets, and he might lead them to the franchise. Hopefully, he doesn't turn into a Kemba Walker where the Hornets ruin his career. And I think LaMelo will be a pretty good player. So that's going to be a video, and I thank you all so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And this was so fun to make. Comment down below your winners and losers, and I'll see you all next time.